Solving quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is one of the four methods that we can solve quadratic equation. One method is factoring, another method is completing the square, another method could be quadratic formula, and the fourth is graphing. Today we're going to use quadratic formula. The quadratic formula that we're going to be using is x equals a negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. That's the standard form. Okay? The quadratic formula. The standard form, however, of solving a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. You want to make sure you get your equation in that form to solve, if it's not already done for you. So, here we have a problem. X squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Already in standard form, you did have to find your A, your B, and your C. Your value for A in this problem happens to be the number in front of the x squared. It's understood if you don't see a number there that it's 1. So, A is 1. Your B value sits in front of the x, which happens to be, you have to take the sign with the number in front of the number, which is B being a negative 8. Okay? And your C, again, considering the sign in front of the number, your C value is 15. Now we have our A, our B, and our C. We're able to substitute into the given equation of a quadratic formula. X equals a negative, we say our B is a negative 8. We have to show that we're putting in a negative 8 then. Also, the equation calls for a negative. Plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared times minus 4 times 1 times 15 all over 2 times 1. Okay? So all this is substituting into the given equation. Okay? You substitute into the given equation and you get all your numbers in. Now you have to consider your order of operation, usually known as, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If you use your order of operation, well, these parentheses stands for multiply, so you're not considering inside the parentheses, but you are considering the square. Okay? So we have to go inside. X equals a negative times a negative gives us a positive. We get a positive 8 plus or minus the square root of an 8 squared. That's the same thing as saying over to the side. 8 times 8, both of them being negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. You get 64. So we get 64 here minus 4 times 1 times 15. Over to the side, you go ahead and say, well, 4 times 1 is 4. But what is 4 times 15? 15 times 4. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry my 2. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 more is 60. Okay? Minus 60 all over 2 times 1 is 2. Okay? So everybody understand, I said 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 times 15, I did that over to the side for you. That gave me 60. Okay? So, still not done. The order of operation. I want to go ahead and get inside this square root symbol and do the operation in it. Okay? So I write, math is like English. Start from the left to the right. I get x equals 8 plus or minus the square root of Well, 64 minus 60, I'm left with 4. All over 2. Well, you keep hearing me say plus or minus, so now my equation reads x equal 8 plus or minus the square root of 4 all over 2. Plus or minus mean I want two situations. One when I add and then one when I subtract. Okay? I want those two situations. So I'm going to write this as accordingly. Break it out. X equal 8 plus the square root of 4 over 2. And, that's the and symbol, x equal 8 plus minus, 8 minus the square root of 4 all over 2. Okay? Okay, now, can you give me, if we were looking at this, the square root of 4? Well, the square root of 4 happens to be a perfect square, which happens to be 2. And over to the side, if you know that the square root of 4 is the same thing as saying 2 times 2. If I have 2 of anything under the square root symbol, I can cancel out 1 and bring 1 out. So therefore, I would just have 2 there. So now just read x equal 8 plus 2 over 2. And 8 plus 2 is 10. So we'll get 10 over 2. Well, 10 over 2, that's dividing, is an improper fraction. You're given left with 5. Then over to the side, we already found the square root of 4, so we'll have x equal 8 minus 2 over 2. That gives us 6 over 2, and that's called improper fraction, and 6 over 2 is left with 3. Now I can write my x-intercepts. My intercepts are 5 and 3. So here are my points. My points that I will graph this are my roots of my real numbers for this particular quadratic equation, which was x squared minus 8x plus 15. I'll have 5, comma 0 as one point, real number. The other one is 3, comma 0 as another point. That is how you solve using quadratic formula.